Good evening. All right, let's call the meeting to order for January 27th, the Iowa City Human Rights Commission. Do we have someone who wants to read the Native American land acknowledgement?
Do you want to do roll call?
Oh, roll call. It normally says roll call on there, so I'm flying in here by the seat of my pants, so apologies. All right. All right. Commissioner Mohammed.
Here.
Great. Kalash here, at least physically. Commissioner Harkin.
Here.
Kadura. Absent. Commissioner Priest.
Here.
Commissioner Lusala.
Here.
Commissioner Paul Schatz.
Here.
Commissioner Miller.
Here.
All right, there we go. Now we can proceed to the Native American land acknowledgement.
Well,
All right, thank you.
we meet today in the community of Iowa City, which now occupies the homeland of Native American nation, to whom we owe our commitment and dedication. The area of Iowa City was within the homeland of the Iowa City, Meskwaki, and Sauk, and because history is complex and time goes far back beyond memories, we also acknowledge the ancient connection of many other indigenous people here. The history of broken treaties and forced removal that dispossessed indigenous people of their homeland was and is an act of colonization and genocide that we cannot erase. We implore the Iowa City community to commit to understanding and addressing these injustices as we work toward equity, restoration, and reparation.
Thank you. Agenda item 3, send off to former Commissioner Mendez Shannon.
And unfortunately, she is not able to join us, so we'll just bump that to a different meeting.
Okay, all right, great. So I would like a chance to officially say goodbye. So her letter of resignation is in our packet there. So if you weren't aware, Commissioner Mendez Shannon has resigned. Okay, that brings us to item 4, report from the Police Department's community outreach.
Hello, Commissioners. This is Joshua Debusu. I am the Community Outreach Assistant with the Iowa City Police Department. So I've got a few activities that we've done in the past, I would say January, so we're still not at the end, but we may have a meeting tomorrow or something, but those are the things that we've been doing for whole January. So we started attending the IC Compassion. For most people knows it's over by Wade Street, so they have a food pantry inside. We thought it was kind of a great idea to partner with them. We'll be going down mostly every week on Wednesday, just kind of help out with food and, kind of make our presence there, me and Trey, which is also another outreach person. So we doing that both on the area of IC Compassion and then as well of the senior center, just across from the street. So we thought that's one of the ways that we can also, show our presence. It's getting cold, and some of the time we don't really have a lot of stuff going on in the community. We're trying just to make our presence seen, so that way they know, outreach is there if there is questions or people thought about something they wanted to refer that to us. Trey gave 2 presentations at ARC of Southeast Iowa. And then the presentation was about a day in the life of an officer. So for many of you or some of the people who doesn't know what the ARC of Southeast is, they serve children and then adults with intellectual or developmental disabilities. So, just go there. We have a very good relationship with them. We go very often and then give presentation on whatever topic that the stuff they want us to do. So this time Trey went down there and then spoke about a day in the life of an officer. There was some great questions. We took pictures, and if you can check on their Facebook page, sometimes we do put on our Facebook page as well, but I don't know if it's out there yet. With the same idea of going to neighboring centers or community buildings, we've started going to the Broadway Neighborhood Center. We thought about going once a week, so we started off as this Monday. The goal is to just show our presence. So we're attending their early childhood program. So tend to be with the kids and then kind of play with them. And if there is like something really specific that we have to bring, maybe like an officer or somebody really dedicated, as Rosie, which is our therapy dog. So we're thinking of doing like something new every week. But yeah, that was a very great start. It was a whole 1 hour playing with kids, and this time we're like, well, this is the first time we're not doing anything special. We're just there playing with the kids and then see how it's like, and the kids love it. So we attended the youth program over by the Greenwood Elementary School on Martin Luther King Day. 4 people were there, so I wasn't, but Trey and then some other colleagues were at Mercer Park, and then as well as the parade. So that was a kind of successful event. We had time to take photos and everything. So that's about what we have done beside the meeting that we usually have partnered with, our just like informal meetings that we have just to keep our relationship with the community, that we don't include that very much. We're trying to focus more and more outreach activities that we do so we can have in our agenda and then also in our Facebook page. I mean, if you guys have any question or anything you wanted to ask, I'm here for, to try to answer that.
Thank you, Joshua. I have a question. With everything going on with our nation and the immigration and ICE, I know you guys work with a lot of our community immigrant group. How is your relationship going with our community immigrant group? Are you seeing any unsettling feeling in our community? How is that going?
All right, so there is 2 different feelings. On a personal side,
Yeah.
and then also on career side, which is the job that I do. So most of the community members, they fully know me from who I am as a person first. And on that side, I don't see much of resilience, like people going back on me. Or most likely they're coming and ask questions, hey, how can we resolve this? Like, what can we do? But at the same time, the relationship that we always had is still there, but they tend to be more on the looking side. Like, as I mentioned, at least every month we may have like 1 or 2 presentation like with immigrant and refugees folks, but we haven't done anything in the past probably 2-3 months, and that's not a bad thing. We do ask, they do come ask questions and so forth, by having certain event, and we do respect that. It's like, well, Joshua, how about we wait? How about if we do it, we don't want to put any photo or anything like that. So they really want to have the education keep on going, deliver that, but at the same time, it is not as it was probably in the last year or so. But we keep on showing our presence, like I always tell them, if there is some questions those are above my level that I may not be able to answer. But what I do guarantee them is, as the police department, we still operate the same way that we were in 2006, 2008, you come all the way to 2024. So everything is still the same as, we're not ICE. There is a difference between local and then federal. As right now, what we are doing is just we're focusing more our folks, which is Iowa City. My job also as a community outreach is, once I come to you guys, it is not to report anything. It is not to ask for any information or anything like that. And then they do understand that. And I mean, that's the good part about it. But, as I said, there is some questions, those are like really above my level that I may not be able to answer. And then I always refer them to Captain Guard, Brotherton, and then she'll be more than happy to answer some of the questions or what they would like to hear from somebody about me.
Thank you, Joshua.
Thank you.
And thank you for that question. Item 5, approval of meeting minutes from our December meeting.
I will move to approve.
I will second.
A motion on the table to approve a minutes from December 1st. Any discussion? All right, if none, then all those in favor of approval?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, minutes approved. Next on the agenda, public comment of any items not appearing on the agenda. Commentators shall address the commission for no more than 5 minutes, and commissioners shall not engage in discussion regarding these items. Do we have anyone wishing to make a public comment? All right, step up and state your name.
Dawn Pulowski.
Hi, Don.
Do you need my address?
No, no.
Can I bring a visual?
Sure.
Okay. I want to thank you guys for creating a transit work group. And just wanted to just tell you one thing that I think could make it easier for people to use the bus. So we used to have a map like this. Which has all the routes, all the Iowa City routes on the same map. So you can see, because some of them are like, there's two routes that sort of go close to the same place, so you can see which route you want to take. But now all we get is this. So I am just asking if there's a bigger map. There is a website, but there's nothing currently that can be printed out. So thank you.
Thank you. Other comments? Okay, then moving on to item 7, correspondence. And I didn't see any in the packet. Stephanie, was there any?
I think it's just about the parables of the future, black future.
Oh, there we go. Way in the back, yeah, last page, 26. All right. Okay. All right, so the Black History Ball, Parables of the Future, Black Future Fest. Okay. Great, and this is, do we have a date?
So the
Must be
back
on the website. Yeah.
there has some of the details
Oh,
about
perfect.
the series that's happening, I think.
All right, last page then. Okay, I see. All right. So a whole festival of
I
events there.
don't think there's a cost to these events, but if there, I'm pretty sure there's not, but if there are, just let me know,
Okay.
and I can register you.
All right. Great. Okay. All right, then item 8, review commission bylaws and powers.
Yeah, and I just really put that in, it's been a while, I think. I think somebody got appointed, I think Talia got appointed in August, July, so newest member, but just a copy of the bylaws. Sometimes there's questions about who sets the agenda, and everything is basically spelled out in the bylaws, so just, I don't think I need to go over them, but just a reminder that if you ever have questions, certainly feel free to reach out to me, but most of the information is probably in the bylaws as well.
Great. All right. Do we need to vote to approve these, or is this a reminder? No, okay.
I'll just in there, just as, you know.
Just a review.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Stephanie. Okay. Item 9, elections for chair and vice chair for 2026. All right. So open the floor for any nominations.
I nominate Doug.
Okay. For chair or vice chair?
Chair.
Chair.
I nominate Kelsey. She has been serving as a vice chair, so I think it's time she stepped up in her leadership too.
Appreciate that, Roger, thanks.
Do you really appreciate it, or?
And we're able to have open discussion here too, right?
believe so,
without-
Yes.
Okay, so,
And no, you cannot share, could be co-chair.
We tried that last time.
well, I mean, I think it's no surprise that, I think it's no surprise that given our current age, rising autocracy and authoritarianism, I think it's really important that we have a chair and a vice chair that are willing to speak publicly on behalf of the Human Rights Commission. I think, Doug, you've done a great job at that in 2025, and I appreciated also, too, where you advocated and supported the commission and also a lot of our statements, too. I have been reflecting that I think since I started with the commission, we have only had male chairs. And I'd like to see that change. So I think that it's important to have a gender balance. This is not me advocating for you to not be chair. This is also not me advocating that I be chair, actually. And in fact, I think it would be a disservice to this commission if I was the chair. I appreciate the nomination, Roger, mostly because I can't always commit to being present given my work commitments with travel. So I just want to share that openly with you all, but I really appreciate and will make the commitment to be here as much as possible. But those are some of my guiding thoughts on some of our leadership needs this year.
Well, when I started in the commission, we had a very strong female chair. You know, my friend Jessica was a chair during that time. She was a very strong chair. And before her, we had another female chair when I think it was Kathy, when I actually joined the commission before Jason became a chair. So we had some strong female chair. Yes, Doug, you have been amazing chair. I think Kelsey, you make a strong female chair. And I know, you know, especially a lot of us, we have jobs that take us places and things like that. So we always understand that. And I'm not advocating for Doug not to be a chair. You have been an amazing, outspoken chair, and I value you, my friend, and you are an incredible asset to our community. And you have been, and you are, and you will continue to be. So I also do like to balance that sometime. So that's kind of why I nominated you, Kelsey. We can always have Doug as your vice chair. So.
Yeah, and I was planning on coming in and nominating Kelsey myself, so thank you, yes.
I mean, keep them coming, I guess. No, I'm kidding. I do want to maybe encourage other leadership across the Human Rights Commission, too. And so, Emily, I would like to nominate you for chair or vice chair, whichever role you would be willing to entertain or accept, too.
That's a surprise. Sorry. Sorry, I can't be in person this meeting. Recovering from a cold over the weekend. Thank you for your nomination. I'll be fully transparent. Like, as you guys have known, I've also been applying to law schools. So I don't know. I hope to stay in Iowa City. I don't know that would be the case. If that would be a stop factor in that, or I would, or like a reason to not nominate me. That's a surprise. Sorry. Sorry, I can't be in person this meeting. Recovering from a cold over the weekend. Thank you for your nomination. I'll be fully transparent. Like, as you guys have known, I've also been applying to law schools. So I don't know. I hope to stay in Iowa City. I don't know that would be the case. If that would be a stop factor in that, or I would, or like a reason to not nominate me or want me to go forward. That's completely understandable. I would also be happy to take. I don't know if I could fulfill the chair position as well as someone with more experience and seniority in the group. Since I've only been here for about a year now, I would, but I'm honored and would be willing to take either, but more okay with the vice chair, just on, experience level. But thank you very much for that nomination, and would be very happy to see either of you stay in your positions as well.
Other,
That electing a vice chair is Emily and Kelsey. Is that your perception?
What was that?
My perception in the conversation, as Kelsey's comments were like they were last time, that it seems like Emily's willing to be considered for vice chair, and Kelsey's willing to be considered for vice chair, so we should vote for vice chair.
I think Kelsey was open for a chair.
Maybe I misunderstood. Oh, you're open for chair if there's Doug's the vice chair or something, or maybe Kelsey and Emily are.
I think I kind of relied on principles of what I think we need in leadership, and I wasn't maybe as clear as I could have been. I really do appreciate the nomination. I would be willing to accept it, but I actually think that it'd be really great to encourage more leadership, and I've really enjoyed my time as vice chair. I think that there are ways in which that if Doug, if you feel that you have a continued commitment to a lot of the advocacy that you've already been doing and building on that, that I would really appreciate that in our chair and our chairperson. And I think Emily would be a really excellent vice chair. And so I think that we can, I think it's really great to change up leadership from time to time, but I think right now too, it's great if you want to continue your ethos that you've been taking, Doug. So does that answer your question a little bit more, Roger and Mark over there? Okay.
so you're nominating me for chair and Emily for vice chair.
The nominations stand as they are. I'm just
Okay.
letting you know my 2 cents in case that informs your thinking.
I would accept the nomination as chair with Emily as vice chair and with the contingency then that Emily would assume the chair next year.
That's a big contingency. I don't know if she can commit to that based on what she said.
Well, then, see, that's the
Somewhere
thing, though, is if she is somewhere else, then she's not, like, abandoning. We can have elections again.
Well, because Emily's on the board until 2027.
Right.
And Doug is on the board until 2027.
I am.
And Kelsey's on the board until 2027. The only people getting off the board in 2026 is, well, Kelsey's getting off the board in 2026, but there's always opportunity to reapply because you still have opportunity to serve again. So, but Lusalo's getting off the board in 2026.
He is.
Yes, he is.
I just got reappointed, so.
Yes, you're gonna be on the board until 2029.
Nine.
So,
I'll be 80 then. just so you know.
So there's always leadership in Emily in the future if she stays in the area. So yes. And for me, it's always good to build leadership, and it's good. And the advocacy will continue because we build them and we all step up and advocate. So I'm good with the continual leadership and the work that you all been doing. So
Thanks, Roger.
Thank you,
I
Roger.
respect it, I appreciate it, and I value all of you guys.
I really want to vote yes, so can you tell me what I'm going to vote yes on?
Well, you're gonna make a motion.
Yeah, you have to make a motion because we've had names, there are nominations, and I think everyone's been nominated for both. It's at this point, so someone needs to just,
Well, I would like to
But,
make a motion to
okay.
nominate Doug as a chair and Emily as a vice chair. So
Okay.
there's a motion on the table now.
all right, great. So that's what we'll be voting on then.
You need a second.
Myself as chair, Emily as vice chair. Do we have a second?
Sure, I'll second it.
Okay. All right. You want a voice vote or roll call?
Can we
Probably
have a
roll call.
quick discussion?
We can have a
quick
discussion.
Absolutely.
Any more discussion?
So one of the things that I really enjoyed about my time as vice chair is that the development of the agendas, although it looks like bullet points, it's actually really important because it's also how we determine the limits of what we're going to talk about.
Yep.
And I think particularly as we have our commitments to our subcommittees, particularly as we are thinking about what this commission can achieve, I think it's going to be really valuable that you let your chair and vice chair know ahead of time, like, we need to be talking about this at the next meeting. We need to be having speakers here. I appreciated those that did bring speakers in last year. And we need to be creating conversational space to address these major issues. So that's my, I think, parting words, I think, as vice chair, and handing it over to, so.
Thank you for that, and 100% agree. So, yeah.
And I'm just going to add that I
Yes.
send the draft agenda out, I think, 2 weeks before the meeting date. So if you want to let Doug or Emily know of something that you want on the agenda, then it would need to be
3 weeks.
ideally 3 weeks out, but if not, at least no later than that. Would that be the second Monday of the month, I think? Probably, somewhere around there.
And if your concept of time is like mine, just whenever you think of something, just we can get it on the next agenda. Just be aware that, if it's within 2 weeks of the meeting, it probably will have to be pushed a month, but, don't sit on something just because you're not sure if it fits a window is the point there. Yeah.
And with that too, because there are a lot of time-sensitive things that are happening in our community and in our world now too, just in case our new commissioners or everyone isn't already aware, we can hold meetings in between our meetings. We can call other meetings, and they can even happen fully virtually. We just need to make sure that there's an agenda shared with at least 24 hours notice to the public. And so just please keep that in mind too, as we think about our role and the maximum that we can do as a Human Rights Commission in Iowa City.
Other discussion?
I feel like I do have to talk because otherwise I'm being a chicken. So I am obviously the newest person here. I've only been here for 4 months, and my appointment has been reappointed for another 3-year term. While I am not necessarily saying I am like diving into either of those positions, I would be open if we are looking for like fully new leadership. I would be interested in the vice position, but that then puts Emily and I both interested in the position, and that is okay. But just so that way, I don't want either of you to feel like trapped in the position and be like, well, I guess I can do it, not that I think you like begrudgingly, are interested in it, but also knowing that like, while I know I am new, I'm always happy to step into a different position.
Good. I'm glad you talk.
Thank you. Thank you.
And congratulations being reappointed.
Absolutely,
you.
yes.
Thank you. I'm very excited about it.
Yes.
All right. With that, we'll vote. The nomination is Emily Harkin for vice chair and myself for chair for 2026. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay. So 6-1, motion carries.
The aye came late. Was that a aye?
that an
to
aye or
vote
a nay?
Yes or a nay? Can we get a?
Yeah, Lubna, was that a yay or a nay?
Oh, I agree.
Agree, okay. All right, thank you. Yeah. All right. Yes. Yeah, I know, the Zoom, there's the mute, the delay, yes, thank you. Okay, thank you for the clarification. Yes. So that's 7-0, okay, great.
Well, congratulations to our continued chair and new vice chair.
Yes.
Thank you all very much.
When
Congratulations.
you were talking back, I'm trying to unmute myself and it doesn't work.
Oh, always with those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, before we move on, I just want to say thank you for your continued confidence in me. I'm pleased to continue on as chair, and hope to meet your expectations for 2026.
All right.
So, thank you.
I also like to sneak in there and say thank you as well. I'm gonna really look to Kelsey and Doug for some leadership on leadership positions, if that's all right with them, of course. And I'm happy that there's confidence in me despite being relatively newer to the council. And I'm excited.
Good company.
Awesome. All right, moving on then. Deciding whether to hold a meeting in June or July for 2026.
Yeah, so last year you decided to skip the June meeting because of Juneteenth and Pride. And then have a July meeting, whereas in years past, you had a June meeting and skipped July.
And skip July.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and Juneteenth is, so I'm guessing
That's what everyone's looking at.
the
Yeah, yeah.
19th obviously is Juneteenth, and I'm guessing Iowa City Pride would be the 20th, that Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at a calendar, but is that following Tuesday, the third Tuesday or the fourth Tuesday?
The 4th Tuesday.
Yeah,
that
so you
following
would be
Tuesday
like
would
bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
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 Okay. So I would, to open discussion, I'll put a motion on the table to continue from last year's plan and skip June.
June.
Do not hold a meeting in June, and then, but have one in July, which would be the 28th, July 28th. Yeah. So not
Is that a
June
motion?
23rd, but meet July 28th. That's the motion, is no June meeting, meet in July instead.
I will
Second that.
agree.
And that would be July what?
28th.
28th, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think it's worth us all keeping in mind that the primary election cycle in Iowa is in June. And so if there's anything related to that politically that we need to be mindful of when it comes to human rights, that we just be in contact with one another. And if we need to have a sudden kind of virtual meeting, that we keep that in mind.
And that'll be early June, right?
Yeah.
I think it's like June 2nd, so, which we're gonna have a meeting in May, so.
Right, so we'll have a meeting the week before the election, something like that, right? Yeah.
Well, and this summer's the bicentennial on the 4th. There might be commotion for us to be attentive to.
Yep.
We can feel free to vote that motion down and hold meetings in both June and July,
Yeah.
even though we traditionally take 1 month off. And we can put that out on the table too.
I think it's okay.
So, okay. All right. But the current motion is to meet not in June, yes in July. All right. If you want to make a motion to meet both times, then we can do that too. But right now, we're voting on no June meeting, yes July meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed?
I
There we go. Sorry, I'll wait an extra second for you, Lubna. And any opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimously. Then we will not meet in June, but we will meet in July. Item number 11, sponsorship request from the University of Iowa Native American Student Association. And this is page 12 and 13 of the packet. So give you a second to read through the request form. This is from our $2,000 discretionary fund.
And this is where we can only award $250.
$250 is the maximum, correct? This is to support the traditional U of I powwow that has been going on for decades.
I move that we approve this.
We'll second that.
Second. All right, motion by Priest, seconded by Paul Shantz to approve the $250 amount requested for the University of Iowa powwow. Their budget is included as required on page 15 and 16.
That's a big budget.
It is. To open the discussion, I will say that, one, this is probably one of the most visible cultural events on campus. It's huge, draws a big crowd. This is also a university event that no longer is eligible to receive funding from the university. So we haven't had a request from a group like this before because the university was able to fund them. And now because of laws from the state legislature and policies of the Board of Regents, the university is prohibited from supporting, funding, promoting any sort of cultural diversity event such as this. So I think this adds a huge value to our community. It is a very rich and exciting event, and I 100% support our funding. I wish we could give them more.
Yeah.
Other discussion? All right, with that, all those in favor of granting the $250 sponsorship to the University of Iowa Native American Student Association for the annual powwow, in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
All right, unanimous. The request is approved. Another sponsorship request tonight, the Asian Pacific Islands Public Affairs Association. This is immediately following in the packet. This is the Lunar New Year Gala celebration at West High School.
Has this happened before?
This is the one that used to happen at the Englert.
So, yeah, that was going to be my question. Is it the same that used to be at the Englert and now it's at West High, or is this a different one?
I don't know if it's well, I know they're not doing it at the English.
Okay, so this probably is the same
Yeah.
event, just new location.
Different, maybe just scale.
Yeah. So we have supported this in
Yeah,
the past.
we have
then.
supported in the past. So,
And I went to the one at the Englert last year, and it was completely wonderful.
yeah.
It was a great experience, and I highly recommend. I would make a motion, although there's more discussion, but I would make a motion to approve this.
Second.
Yeah, I think I just want to, in support of supporting this, share the last sentence in the description for those that might not have the packet in front of them or are listening in, because I think it's important. The emphasis on shared celebration, visibility of diverse students and performers, and intergenerational participation helps build mutual respect, and strengthens community cohesion. I think it's a no-brainer to support something like that.
Agreed. Thank you for calling that out. That's a great line.
Yep.
All right. Did we get a second on the motion?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
from-
okay,
from
then
Mark.
we will vote to approve the request of $250 for the Lunar New Year Gala. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Also passes unanimously. Okay. All right, item 13, updates from the International Day of Human Rights event. Stephanie, did you have updates to provide from that, or?
I don't think so.
We took a picture.
Yeah, we took
Yeah, we
didn't have very
pictures.
many
They're
people
on
there.
social media, and I'll get them added to the February newsletter, but I think that's about it, yeah.
Yeah, it was a small crowd, but there was a good, I felt like there was a good conversation that we had there, and, yeah. Mark was there, Kelsey, you were there, I was there, yeah.
Emily was
Others?
there.
Yeah, I think it was
Okay.
just, oh, go ahead,
Emily,
Emily.
Emily
Yep,
was there
sorry.
for a while, yeah, right.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
just saying I was.
Thank
also
you.
there.
Yeah, it seems like it was forever ago, so pardon my memory. Yeah, go ahead, Kelsey.
Lot happening.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's coming back to me now, and I think I just want to emphasize that it really reinvigorated or restated the need for community-style conversations. I think I took away more from the community members who attended than maybe they took away from us. I'm not sure, but it was very much mutual. I'll put it that way. And it was great. I think we even had a city councilor who joined us as well, and some tireless advocates from across the community. So I look forward to, especially as we talk about the commission work groups later in this meeting, building on that example and those insights too.
Yeah, I'll just add on that, yeah, I thought it was encouraging, it was great to see a city councilor at the event. All right, then, no one else has anything to add on the International Day of Human Rights. We can move on to item 14, Night of 1,000 Dinners, which is coming up on March 6th. The agenda says March
Which is a
8th, but it looks like it's
Friday.
March 6th, the Friday.
Yeah, so I just need to know, I think a few of you attended. I remember Kelsey, Emily, I
I've
think
gone
you
in the
were
past.
there.
Okay.
Yeah, so just seeing, just trying to get a list of who wants to go so I can get those tickets taken care of.
And maybe for those that haven't attended before, this was one of my favorite things I did the year that I attended it, mostly because it's a night to honor those that are working towards UN Sustainable Development Goals, but specifically, it looks like it'll have a Women's Day focus and the sustainability of cities and communities. I think I learned so much more about groups that I actually hadn't interacted with yet in the community by attending this dinner. It also brings a lot of leaders from around the community too, including the county area, and it's joyful in its nature. So it's a light, I think, that we need, especially in what can feel like some pretty dark times. So that's my pitch to go. It's really lovely, and I'm glad that we have the opportunity.
Excellent. So commissioners who are interested, will let Stephanie know, and so she can arrange tickets. Right, fantastic.
Is it March 8th or 6th?
March
It's a
6th.
Friday.
Yeah, Friday, March 6th.
And
6 to
it's,
8.
the location is on it.
Yeah, 6 to 8 p.m., St. Andrew Presbyterian Church.
On the agenda for today is said 8.
It says the
Yeah.
8th on the agenda, right? Yeah, but that's,
Oh,
the
my
correct
bad.
date is
Sorry,
the
sorry.
6th. Yeah.
It's okay. 6, okay.
All right, then item 15 is save the date. Our youth awards are coming up. Those will be on May 20th, 2026. I assume those will still be at the Hilton downtown?
Yes.
Yep, okay, excellent. All right, that's always a fun night.
Yep.
Okay. Then item 16, reports from commission work groups. Do we have any
Invite,
reports?
Jeremy's here. I'd like to invite him to the microphone.
Great.
Jeremy, Dawn, and I met last week. He's gathered a lot of information, survey about transit. You maybe remember his report. So we're building a working group. The Community Transportation Committee, as I understand it, grew out of the Center for Worker Justice.
It
No?
didn't, no. It's a separate.
I know it's separate, but the need for it. Anyway, one of the difficulties is that it doesn't have any standing in the city. And I'll let Jeremy talk now.
Can you repeat that?
One of the difficulties is the committee doesn't have any standing in the city.
Okay.
It's, the members of the committee are not appointed by the city council. The transit executive didn't ask for this. And so it's information.
Yeah, essentially you're right. The CTC is a nonprofit, and we do research and advocacy and fundraising for programs, so like our Give a Bus Ride campaign. But essentially we're bringing you information for you to look over some of our data. And earlier last year, we approached and asked you to start a transit work group. And this were included in the packet for today, and we haven't had a chance to talk about it yet. But some of the core goals of the work group that I wanted to bring up: identifying and eliminating discrimination, ensuring equitable access, promoting inclusive planning, advocating for environmental justice, improving safety, and some of the ways we can do that is research and analysis, policy review of transit policy, and I'm not going to read it in detail because we haven't talked about it yet. But yeah, like we talked about in the work group meeting, bus riders would be able to go to the meeting. And did you want to?
Well, the surveys revealed information, and then Jeremy put together, and Dawn, I think, put together some recommendations. But again, the difficulty is the transit executives in the city didn't ask for it.
Right.
And I don't know how it came about that they made the changes that they did. Was it 2 years ago, a year ago? So I think that's a conversation we need to have. The other thing is, because I'm going to use the word board of directors for the working, for a CTC, there's not, it's a committee, and it's very small. And like bus tickets in Coralville, those kinds of things are helpful. So it's a Johnson County kind of spread. Commissioners, can you get a sense of the awkwardness of this? Just, we'd like to make some recommendations to the transit office, but they're not asking for them. Is that, I'm looking over here at city staff, I should have.
Can you make them anyway?
Huh?
Send them to them anyway? I mean,
Yep.
I don't know if you need an invitation to send them,
I think that's part of advocacy,
Yes.
is collecting research and information and insight from across the community too.
I think
and
Jeremy's
connecting.
tried to talk to the office before,
Yeah.
and
You
that
think-
you've been asked not to.
No, no. There's varying degrees of receptiveness, but I mean, I think, we've done a lot of research over the years, and I guess my hope, and we have only met once, is that we'll get to look at more of it, and then the committee can look at it and decide like what recommendations are like the priority, and what is the political like viability of it, and then as a whole, like to be able to make those recommendations. So like in 2015, we did a study that showed that late night transit was the biggest issue, and it's still the biggest issue. And this latest one that we did was looking at with the CWJ was looking at immigrant families and access to like bus stops, and many of them lived in the mobile home parks, and like access to the bus. And we talked to employers, and that was kind of more of a county issue, looking at like which areas were underserved. So there's a lot of that information that needs to be like digested and formulated into recommendations that.
Yeah, Jeremy and I are going to set up time to meet again after this meeting. We'll find a date and time.
We'll have all that done after our next meeting.
And
I actually was going to say, I think you've come, I mean, I can see that you immediately digested the conversation that we had last time and sent this email, and I just wanted to say thank you for that. I can see the human rights lens on this. I know that, like, it is up to you, too, in, like, this subcommittee, the conversations that you want to have. So this is just my 2 cents, but I really appreciate it. I think the one thing that I will keep as a question or an inquiry, a curiosity, is how we think about the intersection of different forms of transportation. I know we have such a really vibrant bike community here in Iowa City, and when we think about our roads having a competition of bikes and buses at times too, or how we might think about the multi-use, I know that that will be really important.
Yeah, I kind of knew you were gonna talk
Yeah.
about bikes, and honestly, like every time I get up here and I hear that about bikes, it kind of frustrates me, because the people that are going to work and are using these public transit services, and the one that the county just started, Trip Connect, they're not riding their bikes to work, and that I feel like even though there are some people that could probably ride their bike to work, that's really not relevant to like this conversation, because we're talking about bus riders and people that are using vehicles.
Yeah.
So I mean,
yeah, go ahead, sorry, don't mean to interrupt you.
yeah, so I don't want to get off on a tangent, and
Yeah.
I've reached out to bike people, and they're not really interested, and I don't want to be like
Yeah.
shunted over to that again, because it's just,
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of a dead end as far as I'm concerned when we're talking about
think-
public transit.
So right now, you have a work group that isn't called public bus transit, it's called transportation.
Okay.
And I think that it remains an important thing to consider that bike transit remains like a sustainable way of travel. So I leave that question with you. It sounds like you have already inquired. It sounds like you hold some tension with that too, and that's okay. I think it's something that our community can continue to work through, and maybe the spaces of conversation open up someday.
Okay, yeah, and
it's important for me that you bring up the matter of equity. You're not going to find transportation in the Human Rights Code. It's not there. But it is a matter of hospitality, and then also who's using the bus. And that's where we need to pay attention, because there are protected groups that rely on the bus.
Go ahead, Roger. I think Emily looks like she's been trying to say something for a while, or maybe I'm just misreading. No? Okay.
Well, I was going to say something like if we could request a meeting before just making recommendations, or if that was already considered, but the time had passed for that, so I was just listening.
All right.
But thank you, Doc, for paying
Yeah.
attention.
All right, Roger.
I do sense that frustration, and I understand it, because Yes, there's that difference between bike riders and bus rider. And I ride a bike to work by choice. And you see a lot of that. I have a car. I leave it at home. I ride a bike to work. And there's certain people that ride a bus because they have to.
Right.
And sometimes people, we have to marginalize. We have to specify those things. There is a certain population that ride a bus to work because that's the only mode of transportation they have. They go to work because they ride a bus. I have a car. I leave it at home. I ride a bike to work because there's no parking at the university, and it takes me 90 minutes to bike to my office, then 30 minutes to go find the parking to my office. And I'm a biker. You know, I teach spin class. I like biking. So I have 4 bikes.
Right.
Too much. So there's a difference. But I don't take the bus. I can take the bus. So I sense that frustration, and I completely understand it. And there's a different people that take the bus because, so I understand that.
Yeah. And I mean, someone that lives on the outskirts of, or someone that works in Coralville and lives on the other side of town in Iowa City late at night, are they going to ride their bike? I don't know. I mean, and that's kind of like the focus of CTC, is workers getting around, and what we found was late at night. So I would invite another organization that represents bikers to be involved.
I think it's worth continued conversation, but I hear that not tonight. I will just say there's plenty of examples of across Europe as well, and across American cities, of people riding their bike to work. And in fact, as we look at more and more populations moving to cities, it is one of the only sustainable choices that we have, in addition to buses. I think the two have to be thinking in coordination with one another too, from a policy perspective and planning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm most interested in the model pursued by the county, which is like the Trip Connect, which unfortunately was funded with ARPA funds and is losing. So so that would be my choice, and
Jeremy, I just wanted to say thank you for bringing this up. I know others have mentioned that as well. As someone who frequently uses mobility aids, the bus is often an accessible way for me to get around, either a bus or my car. And I know that's often not seen as sustainable, but it is survivable. It's like what I need to survive. And so I think that's often overlooked in our discussions. So I think just you've kept a really good lens of like the human rights lens on it, on how it keeps accessibility at the forefront in different ways. And I do think adding the bike discussion is important just because it adds for a well-rounded discussion. But I'm really interested to see where this goes, just as someone who frequently has transportation hiccups and such. So
Jeremy did wonder if there were other commissioners that would join our group, or if you know some people that would join our group. So thanks for that.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Well, I like to see those recommendations. It doesn't mean they have to be invited. You can always send it to people. That's how it works.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You all are needing another commissioner on.
Not always invited.
I can take the time to do that as well.
Okay.
But if you don't, no worries. I thought I heard that as a
Yeah,
concern.
absolutely. Yeah.
Taking the bus along, so.
Okay, all right.
Barrier and the recommendation.
Mark, did you hear that? Emily going to join the transportation work
Yay.
group with you.
And how available are you, like 5:30-ish?
5:30-ish? Perfect.
Well, I know it works for Jeremy.
Yeah.
Okay.
5:30 is perfect. I get off of work at 5, so. love
Right,
that.
and last time we met in the meeting room across the way.
No.
And Stephanie will arrange that for us once Jeremy and I figure out a day.
Okay.
You got a preference? Emily,
Sorry, I didn't know you were asking.
what's your favorite day to meet at 5:30?
My favorite day to meet at 5:30. Well, obviously Tuesdays, but those are taken. Well, at least once a month.
I'm gonna
Any
guess
day
it's gonna be a
except
Tuesday or a
for-
Thursday. Tuesday or
Okay.
I'll get back
Tuesday
to
or
you.
Thursday works as long as it doesn't obviously
Okay,
mess with this
good,
meeting.
thank you.
Okay, great. And you guys can coordinate that. Other work group reports?
No, one of my group members gone, and it's Kadura.
It's National Hijab Day.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
she reappointed.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think,
and she was reappointed.
one of the, I mean, we don't, that I know of, have an update on the community outreach. I don't know, Emily, if there's anything that we want to share about housing either. But as we start 2026, I just want to encourage that maybe, do we think we can all commit to, by our next meeting, having goals and maybe even some dates about next activities from all of our working groups that we can share with one another? And then we have some guiding light, if you will, of where we want to go next with our next couple of quarters, maybe.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Great. We still have some supporting formatting too that came from consultants, that if that's useful to groups, please use that. I think there's someone in every group that has some familiarity with that too. But
Yeah.
I also think that it's good to have some organic conversation as well.
Right. Yeah, and that should be in the binder that,
Yeah.
that we all got. And if you don't have it, then I'm sure Stephanie can probably get you a copy. Okay. All right. I like that idea. Thank you. Yes, let's all, so every work group next month will have a date and an update. Okay, item 17, the grant network.
So I put this on there because Liz has traditionally ran those meetings.
Right.
And so I think it's early enough that it can be pushed back, but I wasn't sure if any commissioner one is available. That, I believe it's a Wednesday, March 4th. If anybody's available for an hour to kind of lead that group. I can't say like, I mean, really, it's just an opportunity to go around the room to get updates. So, it's not that it's really difficult. It's just kind of the ability to keep things moving, to keep people concise, so that it's just an hour. So.
Stephanie, do you still have some of the goals from the last meeting captured of like what was achieved and what wasn't, or what could be a great space of conversation for the next one? Or is it kind of starting from, not scratch, but a renewed place?
I would say the last one that was that November? Because you were there. It was totally different.
Okay.
So it was what I would call more of a round table.
Yeah.
Like give your name and give an update either on your grant, where it's at, or any upcoming projects or programs that you want the group to know about. And then I think they were done by, it was done by 12:40. And then that left about 20 minutes for the organizations who were present just to kind of network amongst themselves and get to know one another better. So it wasn't as formal at all as that first time.
That's great, okay.
So yeah, a lot more just kind of very informational, short and sweet, to keep it to an hour.
Okay.
And it's noon to 1 p.m., I take it?
Correct.
And do we have a
it will
location?
be at the Iowa City Airport, and they have a cool room out there where you can see the planes landing, so hopefully some are landing during that noon time.
Well, I am available. I'm happy to do it. I've only attended the first one. I know Viana, I think, has attended.
She was at both of them, but
Yeah.
Liz was the lead, I would say,
Yeah.
you know.
Yep. And I know for then everyone else who hasn't been to one yet, I would invite you to be a part of it. If we keep this date, please be a part of it, because I think the opportunity that feels like it's present there. First, I think it really aligns with even our community outreach goals that we have in that subcommittee, but also across the Human Rights Commission that we carry over from previous strategies too. There's a lot of community-based organizations that are working across marginalized groups in our community, and seeing them being able to coordinate and speak to one another is really important and special. So is anyone else available on March 4th over that same time period?
It looks like I am, so I've added it to
Okay.
my calendar, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. And like I said, it was really short and sweet, just because at the first one, we did lose people because we ran over an hour. And so I think this time, no, stay. I think this time it was much more appreciated, even on the participants' parts, for
Yeah.
them to get back to their obligations too.
Great,
So
okay.
like I said, it was real short and sweet. In most of them, I'm not even sure at this point, you would probably have to do introductions just because Doug will be new.
Yep.
But other than that, they should be familiar with one another, so.
Great, okay.
12, 5:30, Helen Conference Room.
Okay.
Okay.
February 12th, 5:30, Helen
12,
Conference
oh,
Room.
12, I had 12 to 1, but is it 12 to 1:30?
12 to 1.
12 to 1, okay.
Thanks, yep. Anyone else available who would like to join us?
What is it we're joining?
On the Grant
Grant
Network.
Grant Network.
Well, I will just say that if, assuming this continues,
On the
if
Grant
there's
Network.
even a like time setting or
March
date
4th.
setting that ensures that more commissioners who want to be a part of it can be a part of it,
Please, and
please, just, I think maybe text
Brady.
Doug or I
Yeah.
is probably the best way, or Stephanie, and then we can make sure to incorporate, like if you know that noon every day is out for you, but you want to be a
12
part
to
of this, maybe that's something we can open up with the group too.
At the airport, the Louisville Market.
All right. Okay, then agenda item 18, professional development opportunities. Does anyone have anything to share, any opportunities?
I signed up for one that I thought may be an option, and I wasn't satisfied, so I don't want to give the name away, because it's not like, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't like what I thought it would be. So
Okay.
I'm still just kind of looking around for opportunities that are reasonably priced indoor. But like I said, it also, to keep this very short, if you're aware of somebody who does this for, that they do this as a profession, and that they could just come here and maybe knock out an hour or two, or you've been to a training of someone, I mean, please send those names, because the one I was doing was a go as you learn, self-guided, which is nice for a lot of people, but we could always arrange for a live session too, and that way we could probably get more people in.
Stephanie, I'm sorry, do you mind restating or repeating what was the specific kind of training that it was?
So this one was on a beloved community
Okay,
and how you create that.
okay,
Yeah, I mean, if somebody else wants to, participate in it, I can you can just send me your name and I'll sign you up, because there is a fee. And maybe your experience is different. I don't know. I just found it kind of dated or something.
yeah, okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
I can be at that Grant.
Oh, great, okay.
great.
I have one update
yes.
so I've been sharing with all of you the exploration into a training that could include interpersonal conflict strategies, especially with nonviolent communication at its core. And I had a really great conversation with an excellent professor at Syracuse University, who thinks about this at a local level, but also at an international level. And she and I had a very full, rich conversation. I think there could be an opportunity here. And in order to understand the next steps, I asked if she would create a proposal that would kind of meet the needs that we discussed, or then be able to be further discussed. Since we were headed, it was December 17th when we spoke, and we were headed into the holidays, we committed that probably by the end of January or early February, she would have that back to me. I don't don't have that yet. I know that it will include some fees associated with it, and I think it's some kind of core tenets of here's the timing, here's the number of people. I will just let you all know that when asked the question, is this primarily for the Human Rights Commission or even city councilors, or is this more something that the community should be a part of? I said, I think it needs space for the community to be a part of it. And so that we could open it up. Who knows who would come or who would be interested, but I think we can advertise it to the best of our abilities too. So know that that is still being built. I'm really actually enthused about some progress in it too. And I look forward to seeing what's possible and working with this professor too, and the whole program actually that has been working with organizations and institutions on exactly these kinds of trainings for their efforts. That reminds me, one of the things that they do is if there's some kind of specific process, this won't be surprising, but if there's a specific process that an organization or a city, they've worked with a lot of cities too, is undergoing or undertaking, applying the kind of nonviolent, kind of effective interpersonal conflict resolution approaches to that specific process is something that they offer too. In our case, I didn't know of any of those coming up. I felt that maybe having a more generalized training that could be applicable to any community member or leader would be the most valuable to us. But please keep that in mind. If you think of something in your lives, work, professional or personal or related to the city as well, that would benefit from something like this, we could maybe even incorporate that too. So just keep that in mind. And let me know if you have questions.
This sounds really interesting, and I'm very excited to see how it goes.
Thank you. Me too. Thanks.
Okay. That brings us to staff and commission member updates. Stephanie, any updates? None? Okay. All right, commissioner updates. Roger, would you like to start?
I don't have much. I accepted Dr. King's proclamation on behalf of the HRC. That was February 6th. I actually forgot to bring the proclamation, so I have to bring it to you next time. That's it.
Mark?
I want to encourage you to get to the Stanley Museum. There's an Ujamaa sculpture. You know about Ujamaa? It's a Kwanzaa principle. Ujamaa is like we're all in this together. As you can see statues there. Bijou is in a video about fabric and how sari works, and there's also this. It's better if I read it off the phone. Low tech, Mark, gonna read it off the phone. Ethics, art, and connections with nature, exploring the archaeological cultures of Mill Creek and Glenwood. And it's amazing what they've unearthed and how they use bones for tools and implements. It's really worth it's a cross-cultural kind of thing that I very much appreciated. I asked Stephanie to send you all Fred Newell's update on what's happening at Dream City. It really is spectacular. And I've also reminded him that there's an opening on the Human Rights Commission, that maybe one of his team would join us, because they were doing some really good work.
Yeah.
I still go to the movies. If you can get to the movie The Corral, it's spectacular. It's in England in 1916, so kids are being drafted. What do you do when there's trauma and draft? Well, you sing. It was. I think it's tomorrow might be the last day at Film Scene.
Thanks. Kelsey?
Oh, thanks, Doug. Oh, man, I am not going to do justice to statements that need to be said at this point in time in our country and in our world. I think that what we're seeing in terms of the death of nonviolent civilians at the hands of employees of the government of the United States is abhorrent and needs to be addressed. And I admire what's happening with those that are protesting that action, as well as the action fundamentally of the seizure and the lack of due process for those that are facing immigration. and deportation. And so I really stand with those protesters and Minneapolis, and I'm sure many of us would agree with that too. And I know that we have many in our community who, although it might not be as public, are facing really difficult scenarios. And so I just, my heart goes out to them. And I admire those on the commission too who have been much more active than me, I think, in supporting them actively too. I will say that the good news, I think, we need some light in these times. Crime is declining, and in terms of violent death that's happening in cities across the U.S., we're seeing a decline in violence. And I'm not including the scenarios in Minneapolis in that, but there is light here, and it's because of the work of communities to address the underlying causes of those violence, and to create repair and to look at what's necessary. One upcoming event that I want to make sure that we're all aware of, it's my pleasure to serve on the programs committee for the Iowa City Foreign Relations Council, and there's an upcoming ICFRC event on February 6th at 6 p.m. at the Iowa City Public Library. It is entitled Raiding the Heartland, The American Story of Deportation and Resistance. It will be a conversation, it's presented in partnership with the Iowa City Public Library and Prairie Lights Books, but it is a conversation amongst Bill Lopez, who is the author of a recent book under that same name, Raiding the Heartland, An American Story of Deportation and Resistance. He will be in conversation with Alejandra Escobar, who many of us have spoken with, and her advocacy and leadership in a local Iowa City organization that supports those who are immigrants or are facing deportation issues.
That date and time again is?
February 6th at 6 p.m. at the Iowa City Public Library. This event is free and open to the public. It also will be streaming online, and I will share the flyer with Stephanie in case she wants to email it out to the rest of the group too.
Have my ticket already. Looking forward to it.
Cool.
Talia.
Okay. So updates. I would say first, we have a really neat disability event on Thursday, if I remember correctly.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yes, that I'm really looking forward to. And there is a link to register for it on our Instagram and such. And it's about disability and language, and it looks really lovely. As far as specific things that I've been up to and been working on, I just created a community-led nervous system care list. And so essentially it's how to care for your nervous system in times of crisis. No, you can't like somatically carry your way out of this, but you can do stuff to try and calm sort of the nerves that make it so you can't operate. And so that way you can get calm enough at least to do good work. And then as far as cool stuff that I've been working on, March is going to be a very busy month for me. I am part of the Iowa Disability Film Festival, and that will be March 26th through the 29th, and I highly encourage everyone checks it out. The 26th, there will also be a disability community social with the Englert that will kick off the film festival. And then March 12th, there, two of my friends and I are co-organizing, hosting a, they completely wrote, directed, and all of this play for disabled people, by disabled people, for a disabled audience. Everyone can attend, but it's going to be really neat. And so March will be lots of disability-focused events, which will be really exciting. But yeah.
Great, great. Emily.
Yeah, to kind of piggyback, my comment would piggyback off of what Kelsey said. And also I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the recent events that were happening. I encourage people to continue using their voices and welcome people who haven't into the circle, to using their voices and rights to advocate for those people who have the limited ability to use their voices and are facing persecution at the hands of ICE. And I think I'm also wanting to encourage safety in using voices. We've seen an increase in violence against all people, those who are protesting, those who are facing this persecution, especially I urge this across everyone, but when you're protesting, make sure to look up your rights and know safety procedures by, visiting sites like the ACLU. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Emily, it's, the transportation group will meet February 12th at 5:30.
The transportation you said?
Yeah, February 12th, 5:30,
Okay, that would work for me.
in the Helling Conference Room.
Okay.
All
I'll
right.
send out an Outlook tomorrow or tonight.
And any updates from Lubna?
Yeah, just, as usual, I'm busy with my community, a lot of issues going on, and with my job and my house, my kids, just super busy. And also, there is a lot of concern of people that they came last year as asylee, and now they're going to have court coming, most of them between February and July, and they are worried, if they did not get approved, because of everything is going about immigration. And the other thing also, the people that they applied for jobs, if they did not show up, proof like they applied for a green card, they got rejected. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff going in my community.
Thank you for sharing. Great.
You're welcome.
I wanted to go last because my update is very brief, but goes along with the comments made by Emily and Kelsey, but just fuck ICE. Motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor? We're adjourned.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.